Welcome, ladies and gents, to A Man in the Shed podcast. As you can see, we're not in the shed today. We've actually been invited over to Three Bridges Football Club, and I'm introducing to you Chairman Paul Faley. And before we get started, and before I give the mic to Paul, and he will start talking, the usual big shout outs that I have to do. Big shout out to Tim Berrington from FCK Couture for the clothes. Tim repping it and loving it as per normal. A huge shout out to everyone at BDO. You know who you are. Tom, thanks for the love. And that's it really. That's the only people that I'm saying a big hello to today. So this is the first time that we've had a real proper guest, and I'm blessed and honoured that Paul has invited me over to Three Bridges. It's a club that I've played for. Youth team level under Mickey Beale. Never got the opportunity to play frontside football here, but there we go. I'm not going to hold that against him. But the reason why Paul's invited us over is to talk about grassroots football, which is obviously something I'm massively passionate about. But I'm going to delve a little bit deeper. So as you know, I set this podcast up for myself, my mental health and all that lot. And I want to delve into what football, the impacts that can have on people, the brotherhood, the relationships that it can also have. But also, Paul's been a player, he's been a manager, now he's a chairman. The impacts that has when you say goodbye to the changing room and then you move up the food chain to it. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Faley. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Kurt. This is lovely. I've never done anything like this before.
There we go.
This is going to be very interesting.
It's the first time in a while where you've popped your cherry at something.
A long time.
So I'm going to start by asking you a question that I asked my 9-year-old daughter. And it's about what makes you happy.
What makes me happy
what
in
makes
football?
In life? Because when I asked Gracie, it came back to football. Grace loves her football, and it all came back.
Yeah.
So what makes you happy?
My family make me happy.
Perfect.
That's there's no question. That's who I live and breathe for. And as each generation is born, I seem to love them even more. I mean, I've been blessed with 3 amazing kids, an amazing wife. It does go straight back to football. that straight away who tolerates the hours and the frustrations. She used to say that when I was lucky enough to be first team manager here, that she knew the result. This is before Twitter. She knew the result by how loud the door banged when I came in on a Saturday. So the family makes me. They're my joy. They're my life. But more interestingly, they are my support structure.
Yeah.
That when I have a shit time here.
Yeah.
At the club, and we all do.
Yeah.
No matter how much you love something, you can still have a bad time. They're the ones that surround me. They're the ones that you suddenly realise that football is, going to say this, a game.
Yeah.
Although it means so much to so many people, thank God. But they're the ones that surround me. And if I'm feeling a bit down or I've got the best grandkids in the world.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that just bring me straight back to earth. So. Yeah, it's the family that brings me joy. And funny enough, my family come here to Three Bridges most Saturdays. My father-in-law comes, my brother-in-law comes, my wife comes. Sometimes my son brings his kids along, or both sons will. So that's what brings me joy.
Yeah.
It's not victory on the park. No. It's not those sort of things. Yeah, I love it when we win, of course you do. But if you were only getting joy from your wins, I'm bollocksed.
Yeah, exactly.
so it is about the things that surround the sport rather than the pivotal thing of the sport.
Yeah, and that leads really nicely into where I wanted to go with this, and it's the family, but it's those connections that you get via sport.
Yeah. That
then become an extension of your family, and the importance of creating that brotherhood or sisterhood within the sporting environment that actually will then help you become a better better person.
Yeah, you develop. You develop around. Look, we're influenced. Our life is influenced by the people around us.
Yeah.
And if you're around a load of people that sit on the sofa and watch telly all day long. You'll end up being that person that sits on the sofa and watches telly all day.
Yeah, all day.
If you're a person that enjoys sport but wants to partake, listen. You don't here at Three Bridges. We kind of have the impression you have to be an elite athlete.
Yeah.
Because it's a semi-pro club. I get that. But it's not about being an elite athlete. It's about the love of the game and the people that you meet en route through the years. My first ever team that I ever played for was a team called Fairways Football Club, based in Peace Pottage, and a great legend in my eyes was a guy called Bobby Atkins. And there'll be people listening to this that remember the complete lunatic that Bobby was. Sadly, he's passed on now. But Bobby, when I was 14 or 15, said, I was playing I lived on a council estate in Furness Green, and you always played football in the back. You don't have that anymore, sadly.
No.
The green at the back of our house was Lord's, it was Wembley,
it was everything, yeah.
Stamford Bridge. You know, every time the FA Cup finished, every kid in the street was out there with their kits on and stuff like that. We missed that, by the way. We missed that a lot.
Yeah.
And funny enough, the thing that has to take that over, I'll go into that later, but is youth football, where we used to play it out the back on a bit of old rough ground.
Yeah.
That rough ground's not about anymore, or there's too many wrong people out there to let your kids out there.
Yeah.
Now, it's now about controlled environments, which is fine. But I was lucky when I had Bobby Atkins. He set me on the path of football.
Yeah.
But I think I'd probably been there, I don't know, 3 seasons. And I was playing at MEL as well, which is the old Crawley League side. Brilliant side. We had great fun. Darren Cook, who I played football with back then, when I was 16, 17, he was probably 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Him and his brother, Marcus Cook, and his dad, Pat Cook, they all played there. They still come here to Three Bridges. I still see them. I give them a big hug. They come to every event that we've got.
Yeah.
We've remained friends close to 40 odd years now, nearly 50 years, nearly half a century of friendship.
Yeah,
and I would do anything for them, you know, and I know vice versa
Yeah.
as well. And there's players out there that I played football with that we still keep on contact with.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sport, I'm not just saying football, Kirk. I
No,
mean,
it's all sport, yeah.
I just think that that's what it brings together.
Yeah.
And I think that no matter what alley you go down, refereeing, for example, is the way you went.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not always. You know, for everyone who knows, I was a good football player when I was younger.
was a good footballer.
I was bad luck with injuries, and instead of growing up, I grew out, and that was it. That's what killed me. But
you had to
all
be
sport.
a good player. You had to be a player to be a ref, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a whole different subject.
Yeah,
on
God,
that,
God, yeah.
I don't want to be doing that on mine, but I've got to say, the best refs are ex-players.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. You can't do academies and then straight. You've got to be a player.
Yeah.
You've got to know the nuances of.
You've got to know the game.
You've got to know the little, when a player drops his shoulder, is he going for? Is he really going to try and kick the lad, or is he trying to get round him? So referees know that because they've played.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was very, very lucky and blessed to have great people around me all through football, and then I sort of developed into Three Bridges because both my boys wanted to play football.
Yeah.
And I was lucky that Alan Bell, the chairman at the time, invited my little team along. We were 9 years old. And I managed that team up until under 18s. The under 18s manager with me at the time was a guy called Simon Body, brilliant bloke. Brilliant bloke. Sadly not in football anymore. And it just sort of developed from there, really. But I can honestly say I've got lifetime friends because of football, because of sport.
Yeah. And that's and it always baffles me when I speak to people who aren't interested in sport, how much they miss.
Oh.
And I look at the great brotherhoods of rugby. You know what I mean, the great conversations I've had with people who are rugby fans.
Yeah.
And they talk about that culture, and they talk about that brotherhood and their best men at their weddings and stuff like that. And it always makes me feel a bit sad that these people who haven't experienced it, and they've kind of lived their life in their own little bubble. And it gets on to what we're going to talk about with reference to grassroots and this generation of kids now, where they are comfortable sitting on their phones, sitting on their tablets, playing on their computer games, not actually going out there getting dirt on your knees and experiencing
Basically, you had to go home from school and your mum would say you got to put your playing out clothes on.
Yeah.
Because you weren't allowed out in your school uniform because you'd ruin it.
That had to last you for the week as well,
exactly,
didn't it?
Exactly. Your playing out clothes were clothes that old jeans you had torn, or if you was lucky enough or rich enough to have a proper football kit, that went straight on.
Yeah.
That was on. You slept in that.
Yeah.
That was something that you did. The football was often, back in my day, was, never fully inflated. It always had a slight puncture.
Yeah.
It always like wrapped itself around your face when you
Oh
tried to
god,
head
yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. And games where you was with a load of kids, a load of mates. And back then, here's the funny thing, Kurt, is round our way, girls would join in with the football and stuff like that. It was like if you played curbs, right? Do you remember curbs where you had to bang the ball,
yeah,
and you had to go down to catch it?
Yeah.
Right, if you was playing curbs, it wasn't just boys that were playing curbs, it was girls.
Everyone was out.
One of the best footballers we had round our way was a girl called Janice Defoe. Her family come from East London, East Ham actually.
Yeah.
And there was Gary and the two sisters. Janice was different level.
Yeah.
She was sadly was a West Ham supporter, but I won't go into that.
No, it's not.
But she was a brilliant player.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to have seen her now in today's controlled, well-coached
Yeah.
environments.
Yeah.
She'd have been an absolute player.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, back then we didn't give a rat's arse whether you was boy, girl, black, green, blue, Jewish, Catholic, Protestant. No one gave a shit.
Yeah, and you just
We
wanted to play.
Played football.
Just wanted to play,
That's
and you
all we
wanted
did.
to, and you didn't care what the score was.
No.
You know, you're just outside. You're not
43-40.
Yeah, exactly.
Last goal wins.
And then the light goes in, and you know that's when you got to go home.
And we miss that.
Yeah.
This country's culture misses that. But luckily, we've still got a lot of dads out there like yourself.
Yeah.
And like the sort of thing that I did, and you formed teams because your kids wanted to play.
Yeah.
And these people are absolute unsung heroes. Wouldn't it be nice one day on the honours list to see George Smith, under 16s manager,
Sure.
knighted? Why?
Yeah.
Because he's done a brilliant job with these. They haven't won anything.
No.
They've won nothing.
Yeah.
Right? But he's got a bunch of 15, 16 kids in his little group.
Yeah.
They all get a game.
Yeah.
They all pay their 15, 20, 30 pound a month or whatever it is. They're all chuffed to pieces to wear a kit, and they're going to continue playing. And here's a fact for you. Kids that play sport, rugby, cricket, football, are less likely to break the law, less likely to go and stab somebody than kids that play in a community sport, in other words, a team sport.
Yeah.
So, surely to God, every council in this glorious country that I love should be really making a point about getting as many kids out there to play football with a pathway, which we're lucky enough to have right the way through to senior football here, but with a pathway, and even if they haven't got a pathway, associate with the club that has got a pathway, and get these kids playing a sport, cricket, rugby, I really,
any swimming,
hockey,
anything,
netball, I don't care, but they learn to communicate, they learn to work with this is a thing, right, Kurt? You've done it. You're very hard in your business. What you do. Here's a thing. Interview. They say, "Are you a team player?" Most bullshit question ever hear in your life. In fact, if any interviewers say it, they don't deserve to be interviewed. Are you a team player? And the poor bugger that's being interviewed is never going to say no. No, I hate everybody. I'd rather just...
I play snooker and darts and that's it.
And I don't want to talk to anybody.
Exactly,
Fair enough. But what you say is, you go, well, are you a team? They say, yeah. Are you? Have you ever played football, rugby, cricket? No. What team have you ever been involved with? I ain't. Then you're not a team. You don't know what it's like to be in a team. You don't know how to communicate. You don't know when to keep your mouth shut. There are times you've got to keep your mouth, and there are times when you shouldn't keep your mouth shut. You should open up. And a dressing room is an environment with all your peers, with a common love. There's the time you can express yourself as a human being. Male, female, in between, no one cares. You just got to love the sport. No one cares, and it's just getting a ball or a cricket ball or a football, netball.
Anything.
But
give it your all, and I think this is the thing as well. It's I mean, I spoke about the reason why I asked about the happiness is it always everything that I'm trying to do is about promoting positivity. Because there's so much doom and gloom in the world that we have to find these things that make us happy again. And the very first podcast I did was about happiness and finding the things that as kids that we used to love, but we stopped doing because we become an adult. But with what you've done in your footballing career and the relationships that you've carried on, you haven't grown up because you've stayed here. You've stayed in football. Chatting to
the old woman. To be fair, you're right. I haven't grown up at all, and I do. And funny enough, you're right. This has brought me more joy. I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I've got an amazing football club that I'm a part of. And I'm also blessed that I have phenomenal children that run the businesses for me. And a wife that is possibly the most patient person in the world to deal with the shit that I bring home
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky that I can facilitate the time because I've got my daughter runs my salon,
Yeah.
my son runs my barber's, you know, and my wife runs the other salon and oversees everything. So I'm really lucky, Kurt. There's not a lot of people that are lucky enough to do that. And that allows me the time then. It's not just about me having joy. There's nothing you do with kids football.
Yeah.
Right? We're very lucky we've got kids teams here as well. Is there no better feeling than a good training session and you look at the kids smiling, laughing, chucking a ball at each other, all of these different things.
Yeah.
You look, just take a step back and look at those kids. There's not a phone on them.
No. Yeah.
There's not an iPad on them.
Yeah, they're not even worried about TikTok videos or silly dancing.
No.
They're just they're in the moment.
They're in the moment, and that's when the parents that are watching, the manager, the coaches, whoever's there, take a step back and just go, actually, this is what life is really all about.
Yeah.
This is the joy. I get joy from their joy.
Does
that make sense?
No, 100%. And I think that's the, again, unless you're involved in that sport, people will be listening to this going, I don't get how you can get joy from their joy, but you do.
Oh, it's the biggest for me personally, and I can only speak for myself, right? But for me, even when we do a 5-a-side, 6-a-side festival of football, which you know, and
which hopefully my Oka team are going to come and win.
Yeah, probably not. But anyway, but we love the festival.
Yeah.
But I'm always honoured every year. Simon Rollins, who's a great ambassador for this football club, does so much for the kids. Says, "Oh, Paul, can you hand out the medals?" So I always say at the end, I say, it's a cliche. This is why I love doing the job as chairman. Yeah. Because it's that time, and I'm putting a medal over a 9-year-old's head.
Yeah, you can see that smile.
This is the World Cup to him. This is the FA Cup to him. And I always say, listen, we were very lucky several years ago. We won the county league, and the joy I felt that day was incredible. I don't think my joy was any less than Pep winning the European Cup.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any less than any Premier Division manager or any manager that's won the FA Cup. My joy is at its peak.
Yeah.
Their joy is at their peak. There's no difference in just because it's my little cup in little old Sussex.
But it's yours though.
But it was our time. Yeah. And all the things you put together happened at the right time. But there are thousands. I think, is there something like 44,000 football teams in England? I think they've done a thing on it. I think Sky did something along those lines. But when you add it up, 44,000 football teams.
It's a lot of washing.
That's a lot of laundry, isn't it?
It's a lot of footballs and a lot of washing.
But you think, well, that's a hell of an industry, isn't it?
Oh,
you
God,
you look
100%.
at Nike and Adidas. You know, what they give to the big Premier sides is nothing compared to what grassroots.
Yeah, but again, it's the grassroots that funds it, because they're the ones, they're the mums and the dads and the kids that are going out there and buying the boots and buying the kits. And then these professional clubs are getting everything given to them. And that's where it's wrong with football.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I mean, we talk about grassroots, but actually what is a grassroot?
Yeah.
Well, it's the bit under the mud that no one sees that produces the green shoots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's our job. No one's going to see us.
Yeah.
You don't think the King's going to go, I'll tell you what, that Kirk and Paul, they're double up. They are good.
Yeah.
Right? Not only are they that good, I'm going to knight the pair of them.
Yeah.
Because of all the work they've done in grassroots. We're not seeing Kirk.
No.
No one knows who I am. No one knows who all the people.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. You are pretty well known, but I think that then goes back to when you're talking about how good it is when you see when you can put that medal over that boy or girl's head. No one sees you, but you can see them.
Yes.
You can see that joy and that passion. Exactly that. Yeah.
You feel it inside, and when you've done, listen, I have to get on my hands and knees.
And get up really slowly.
Right. I need to call 3 of the lads over to help me back up after. But it's when you're on their eye level and you're whacking the ribbon over there. Now, we try and give as many kids a medal as possible. Yeah. And a lot of people have a problem with that. They go, oh, but they didn't win anything. You're 9.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to win everything.
Yeah,
you don't have to do. You don't have to win anything.
And they know as well, because obviously one of the things that I get the ump about is sports day. No one wins or loses, but you do know.
You know.
If you do know whether you've given your all, and I always say to my kids, give your all, and then you will always win.
But I do believe in winners' medals.
Yeah.
But I also believe I quite like the idea of participation medals. You've been big enough as a kid to get out of bed at 7 o'clock in the morning. Chances are, if there's anything like my kids, they slept in the kit the night before. They're that excited.
Yeah.
You get up, they go to 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock kick-off, or whatever it is. I believe that a winner should have a winner's medal.
Yeah.
Equally, if you participate, if you've got up in the morning and your boots are clean and you've done all the right things, then here's something to celebrate that.
Yeah.
And it's a little medal, then celebrate the fact that you've actually made the effort. Because if it's that little thing that keeps you going for next season, and the season after that, then we're winners.
Yeah.
We're all winners.
Yeah.
There's, and I know people say you can't all be winners. No, of course, the physical side of it is you've just won a cup. You're the cup winner.
Exactly. Yeah.
All my life, it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, 100%.
But there's 99% of the kids and adults that play football will win nothing.
Nothing at all. Yeah, exactly that.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So we're in a business where 99% of the individuals that take place,
the 44,000
will win niche.
Yeah.
Nada.
Yeah.
So what does that say about the game?
Yeah.
That they're going to continue it the year after that,
and they
the year after
back
that,
and back.
And not only that, when they retire, they still watch it on the telly.
Yeah. And they still give their views. In my day, it was like this, like that, and that's the reason why we love it.
That is the reason why, and we all have opinions about it.
Oh my God, yeah.
And who doesn't? I mean, I've got barber shops. You want to hear opinions? Oh my Lord, I do hear some
Get down there.
I hear some shits, right? So you get some. Listen, I'm a Chelsea supporter. I'll be honest with you, Premier Division's gone out my vision a little bit.
Yeah. Try being a Palace fan. Jeez.
I wouldn't even attempt that. I am, especially after last night.
Yeah, I don't.
But for me though, Kirk, it's when you start. For me, the Premier Division now, even Championship, is so far away from us.
Yeah, 100%.
I know. I loved Beckham recently when he did that kids team.
Yeah, went off and did that. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. We need to see more of that. By the way, we don't need political opinions from people in football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Equally. You know, he needs to keep his mouth shut about that and focus on what you're good at, which is football. Yeah. But I think we're in a sport where probably more than 99% of people will achieve nothing as far as cups and glory go. Yeah. But what do? They play in the mud. They play on AstroTurf. They play in the pissing rain. Yeah. They would down to the kids. They play in the snow. Yeah. They don't care where they play. They come in their short sleeves. Yeah. Their shorts. You're gonna get cold. No, I'm not. -2. Get your coat on. Don't need a coat. Or they put it on. They run 15 paces and then it's up there on the pavement. They use it on the post. Yeah. But that is the joy. Yeah. You talk about joy. I get excited now. You can tell. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. I love the fact we only had half an hour. We could talk for hours and hours and hours. You know, we really could. It's that joy, and we talk about the struggle of life, and we talk about putting yourself away in your own little bubble, and we will talk again with reference to, because all we're talking about is joy and happiness, and I do want to pick up with you about the negative times, the sad times when you can't, especially because you are a successful businessman. I mean, you think over the last 3 years what we've had to go through in the world with reference to businesses closing, staff, everything like that. But today's not about that. Today's about happiness, and I want to get onto everything that you're doing down here. Okay, just really quickly, because we've only got a couple of minutes left. Yeah. But so Paul, I'll pass over to you with reference to what you're doing and the reasons why it's so important to get behind grassroots football. Because if you don't, then all we're going to have is flats and kids that just aren't experiencing this joy and this happiness. So Paul, tell us a little bit about what you're doing down here at Three Bridges and why it's now's the time to start supporting grassroots again. So we have a shared vision, I think, and that is that in today's society we just believe there are just way too much electronics talking around. Exactly. But if it's the medium we use, it is. Yeah. But for me, there's too many kids on it. There's too many kids that wrap themselves around screens, and I don't think it's healthy. It might be. I don't know. I'm not an expert. But we're trying to get 3G down here so we can be 12 months a year. Yeah. I think that's important. I love grass. Yeah. Take that every way you want it. I think it's important that we have 3G. We're trying to work with charities. Yeah. We work quite a lot with charities. You and I both work with Nuffield Health as well. Yeah. And they do some wonderful work there with the breathing exercises for anxiety and stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm really happy now that I think mental health has been brought into light. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, here in my office, If anybody's got a problem, we have what we call a shut the laptop down, and you
Love
have
that.
to talk about it for 15 to 20 minutes. Let's get it out, have a cup of tea and a biscuit,
Yeah.
and we could talk about it. So the club is kind of working its way through the charity work, the community work. Crawley needs this.
Yeah, 100%.
And we want to take on as many kids
Yeah.
and as many football teams at youth level as we possibly can. We want to be the centre point
Yeah.
for youth football here. And there are some great clubs. There are Oakwoods and the Allfolds and
Yeah.
all that. They do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
But we want to be the hub,
Yeah.
the epicentre of youth and watching them develop
Yeah.
into fine young people.
Yeah.
And if that's it. That's
Yeah.
my vision. Nothing fancy, nothing flash. I just want to see kids develop into what I call good human beings.
Yeah. Because that's the thing is, you mean I'm a ref. The thing you get taught is about you respect the referee, and if you can get that into these kids, they may not get it at home. They may not respect themselves, but the moment they turn up at a football pitch, you have this code of conduct.
There's disciplines.
You have to have it because the kid. I mean, I go back to when I was a kid. You were scared. You were scared of the old bill. You were scared of getting caught by your mum and dad doing
You were
something
scared
wrong.
of the geezer, the park keeper. Back in the day, you had the parkie that would chase after you.
Yeah, yeah,
You were scared of him.
yeah. I remember at Hawley Town we had the groundsman called Ken Burtonshaw, and if you
still remember his name.
and honestly, if we were playing on the front team pitch, he'd come run at us,
yeah.
and but you were scared of him, and you got off that pitch because you had that respect for him because he gave up his time and he was making the pitch. It was a shocking pitch at Hawley Town.
It was awful, that pitch.
It was so bad, but you had that respect, and this is what these young kids have because when they get to 18, they're adults, or 16 now with some of these kids. They want to be treated as adults, and if they haven't had that respect, they haven't had that thing driven into them that life isn't easy, life is crap, life is hard.
You lose every now and then. You lose and you win.
Well, you just said it. You lose 99% of the time when you come to sport. So if you haven't had that in your life, you go for that job interview and you don't get it. What are you going to do? You're going to react like a baby. You can't do that.
No.
But if you've got them core basics,
it's almost muscle memory. You've had 10 years of football where you've been told you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to play like this, work like this, dress like this.
Yeah.
You know, make sure your boots are clean and stuff like that. These are disciplines that will only take you further in life.
Yeah.
These are good disciplines to have. And if you've been having those disciplines, Kurt, since you were 7, 8 or 9, well, younger, Bridges, I think we've got 4-year-olds
It starts early now.
You know, we start moving them forward. They're the disciplines that by the time they hit 16 is natural.
Yeah.
It comes to them normally to be respectful to people.
Yeah.
Listen, while they're on that pitch, you see 15 and 6-year-olds.
Cross that white line,
go at
it's
each
totally
other.
different.
But when they come off that white line, then people will talk to them. The first team have a drink with the other team.
Yeah.
The referees come in and we have a joke and a laugh with them because we might have abused them for 90-something minutes.
You do, Paul. You do.
Obviously not me. I've never abused a referee in my life. But, you know, these are the things that make me so proud.
Yeah.
And that's what the club, you ask me what's the club here? That's what the club gives.
Yeah.
That's what the club wants to take as many, we're going to do a big campaign. We want at least another 10 teams here for next season.
Yeah.
So if there are teams out there, ring me, ring the club, and we'll sit and talk to you. You don't have to be the best at all, but we believe in developing children to go forward to be better players, yes, but better people, definitely.
There you go.
That was quite good, wasn't it?
That was deep. I tell you what, that is no notes. We've not written anything down. We didn't even know what we were going to talk about. So big thanks to Mr. Free Bridges, Paul Faley. He's doing loads. The one thing is I've got him on the bandwagon. He's doing his own podcast.
Because of you.
Because of me, and we're going to be doing it. We're going to be supporting him. But if you're out there and you want to get into football, you don't need to be a kid. You can be an adult now. There's so much for these adults to get involved in football or any sport.
Managers, coaches, bring them on. Come here. If you want to be a coach, come and see us.
There you go.
Come and see us. We'd love to talk to you. If you want to be a coach, male, female, whatever, you come here and we will help that. Listen, if anybody out there is trans and all that, so what? Come here and we'll show you how to be a coach.
Create that family.
Absolutely.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've been the man in the shed, but not in the shed today. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Pleasure. Thank you.
See you later.
Brilliant. Cheers. Thank you.